Welcome back, literature lovers. Today, we are exploring one of the most fascinating, powerful, and misunderstood literary devices in all of literature: irony. Now, here's the ironic part: people use the word irony every day, but most people confuse irony with coincidence, bad luck, or sarcasm. But in literature, irony is something far deeper. Irony creates suspense, it creates humor, it creates tragedy. And sometimes it reveals truths more powerfully than direct statements ever could. In fact, some of the greatest literary moments in history depend entirely on irony. Imagine reading a tragedy where the audience knows the hero is walking toward disaster, but the hero does not. Or imagine a character desperately trying to avoid fate, only to cause the very thing they feared. That is the power of irony. So in today's lecture, we will explore what irony really means, the three major types of irony: dramatic, situational, and verbal, and famous examples from literature. We will also discuss irony in modern storytelling and films, and why irony makes literature emotionally powerful. So sit back, open your literary imagination, and let's enter the beautifully twisted world of irony. What is irony? At its simplest, irony is a contrast between expectation and reality.
Or more specifically, a difference between appearance and truth.
Irony occurs when what happens is different from what we expect, what is said, or what is understood. And this gap between expectation and reality creates emotional impact. Sometimes irony is funny. Sometimes it is tragic. Sometimes it is shocking. And sometimes it completely changes the meaning of a story. Before discussing the types, let us first understand why writers use irony at all. Writers use irony to create suspense, produce humor, criticize society, reveal hidden truths, deepen themes, surprise readers, expose human foolishness. Irony forces readers to think beneath the surface. It transforms simple storytelling into layered storytelling. Traditionally, literary scholars divide irony into three main categories: dramatic irony, situational irony, and verbal irony. Let us examine each carefully. Dramatic irony occurs when the audience knows something that the characters do not know. This creates tension because readers or viewers understand the danger, truth, or reality before the characters themselves do. Dramatic irony is especially common in tragedy and horror. Think about how emotionally painful this can become. You watch characters make decisions while you already know the consequences.
You want to warn them, but you cannot. That helplessness creates suspense and tragedy.
One of the most famous examples of dramatic irony appears in Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare.
Near the end of the play, Juliet drinks a potion that makes her appear dead.
The audience knows she is alive, but Romeo does not.
Believing Juliet is truly dead, Romeo kills himself.
Then Juliet awakens, sees Romeo dead, and kills herself as well. This is devastating dramatic irony. The audience possesses knowledge the characters lack, and that knowledge creates unbearable emotional tension. Another legendary example appears in Oedipus Rex by Sophocles. Oedipus is searching for the murderer who caused the plague in Thebes. The audience already knows the truth. Oedipus himself is the murderer. Ironically, the more passionately he searches for the criminal, the closer he moves toward destroying himself. This creates tragic dramatic irony because the audience watches fate tightening around him. Situational irony occurs when the outcome of a situation is the opposite of what is expected. This type of irony surprises readers because reality contradicts normal expectations.
A classic example appears in The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry.
A poor husband sells his watch to buy combs for his wife's beautiful hair. Meanwhile, the wife sells her hair to buy a chain for his watch. Both sacrifices are loving and beautiful, but both gifts become useless. That unexpected reversal creates situational irony. And notice something important: the irony is not merely humorous, it deepens the emotional meaning of love and sacrifice. Situational irony also appears in The Necklace by Guy de Maupassant. Madame Loisel borrows a necklace to appear wealthy at a party. She loses it.
Her family spends years in poverty replacing the necklace.
Then she discovers the original necklace was fake. The outcome completely reverses expectations. That shocking revelation creates situational irony. In Animal Farm by George Orwell, the animals rebel to create equality and freedom. But eventually, the pigs become even more oppressive than the humans. The revolution meant to destroy tyranny creates a new tyranny. That contradiction is situational irony. Students often confuse irony with coincidence. Let's clarify. If you carry an umbrella and it rains, that is not irony. If a fire station burns down, that is irony. Why? Because the outcome directly contradicts expectations. Irony depends on contradiction, not mere surprise.
Verbal irony occurs when a speaker says something but means the opposite.
This is the most common form of irony in everyday speech.
But literary verbal irony is often more sophisticated than simple sarcasm.
In Julius Caesar, Mark Antony repeatedly says, Brutus is an honorable man. Brutus is an honorable man. Brutus is an honorable man. But Antony does not actually mean Brutus is honorable. He means the opposite.
The repeated statement gradually exposes Brutus's betrayal. This is verbal irony used as political rhetoric.
In Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, Austen frequently uses verbal irony to criticize society and marriage expectations.
The famous opening line says, "It is a truth universally acknowledged," but Austen is actually mocking social assumptions about wealth and marriage.
The sentence appears serious but contains ironic criticism. Now here's an important distinction: sarcasm versus verbal irony. Sarcasm is usually sharp, mocking, or insulting. Verbal irony may be subtle, humorous, intellectual, or critical. So, all sarcasm is verbal irony, but not all verbal irony is sarcasm. Beyond the three major forms, there are additional forms of irony scholars discuss. Let's briefly explore two important ones.
Cosmic irony occurs when fate, destiny, or the universe seems to mock human beings.
In tragedies, characters struggle against forces larger than themselves. In Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy, Tess continually suffers despite her innocence. The universe itself appears cruelly ironic.
Socratic irony occurs when someone pretends ignorance to expose another person's ignorance.
This method comes from Socrates. Socrates would ask simple questions while pretending not to know the answers. Eventually, his opponents would expose their own contradictions. Irony remains everywhere in modern storytelling. Films, novels, television, and even memes rely on irony. Superhero films often use verbal irony through witty dialogue. Psychological thrillers use situational irony through shocking twists. Horror films rely heavily on dramatic irony. Even dystopian fiction depends on irony. In The Hunger Games, entertainment becomes violence. A society that claims civilization creates brutality. That contradiction is deeply ironic.
Irony matters because life itself is often ironic. Human beings misunderstand themselves. Societies contradict their own values. People pursue happiness and create suffering.
Irony reflects the complexity of existence, and literature uses irony to reveal uncomfortable truths. Sometimes irony makes us laugh. Sometimes it breaks our hearts. Sometimes it exposes hypocrisy more effectively. Perhaps irony is one of literature's greatest tools because it reflects the contradictions of human life itself.
We say one thing and mean another. We seek freedom and create oppression. We chase dreams and destroy ourselves.
And literature captures these contradictions through irony.
From Romeo and Juliet to Animal Farm, irony continues to shape the greatest works of literature ever written.
And once you begin noticing irony, you will start seeing it everywhere, not only in books, but in society, politics, relationships, and everyday life.
If you enjoyed this lecture, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with fellow literature students.
And in the comments below, tell me, which type of irony do you find most powerful, dramatic, situational, or verbal?